Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. Welcome back. And in our previous episodes, we've explored the importance of delegation and effective team building. And today we're actually going to be diving into a crucial topic for scaling businesses. And that is, who in the world do you hire next, right? So we're actually jumping into understanding the differences between what an OBM, an EA, and a VA, what those roles are. And so an OBM is an online business manager, an EA is executive assistant, and a VA is a virtual assistant, okay? And so these roles often overlap, but each has unique responsibilities and can provide very different levels of support. And so we're going to actually explore the key distinctions today and help you, as that CEO listening, determine which role is best suited for your business, okay? And so, of course, in Karalee fashion here on the podcast, we're going to be jumping into the definitions of each of these roles because that's where we find the base. And so we're going to start first with the online business manager, aka OBM. So that's like your strategic partner, that operations expert, that project management person, okay? And so an OBM actually works very closely with the CEO to implement these systems, and they drive efficiency. They oversee daily operations, ensuring smooth functioning and optimizing processes. And they often manage projects, ensuring they are completed on time and within budget. Okay, so that's like the role, the definition, right? Defining this role of OBM. All right, so let's define executive assistant, aka EA. Okay, so they're normally your personal support, the task management, and the communication liaison. Okay, so we're talking the executive assistant normally provides support directly to the CEO or a higher level executive, right? They handle tasks such as scheduling, travel arrangements, and email management. And they often act as that liaison between the executive, right, that CEO, and other team members, right? Because they work so closely with that CEO, they are able to communicate with the team more efficiently as well. And then this last one here is the actual virtual assistant, aka VA. The most common one that you hear is going to be VA. And they are remote support, they're task oriented, and they have flexible arrangements. And so VAs are usually freelancers who provide administrative or technical support remotely, right? They're not beside you. They're not in an office. They're in their homes or in their offices. That could be across the world or across the country, wherever, right? They're normally, like I said, task oriented. So they typically handle specific tasks that are just assigned by them. They're normally reoccurring tasks as well. So same types of things each week. And then they also normally work full-time or part-time, and depending on the client's needs. So you can hire, any of these roles can be full-time or part-time, but especially a virtual assistant is normally like full-time or part-time, more than likely part-time now. All right, but it's flexible. You get to choose as the client. And so now we're going to dig deeper into the key differences between these roles. Like we're talking scope of work, level of autonomy, reporting structure, skill sets, things like that. Okay. And so we're going to start with the scope of work between these three. And we're going to try to make this as simple as possible. And so the OBM, right, the scope of work in this sense is going to be overseeing daily operations. They implement systems and they drive efficiency, right? They're that higher level person that is in your business that's making sure that things are running properly. All right. Then you have the EA, which provides personal administrative support to the CEO or another, higher level executive, right? So that's their scope, right? Personal administrative support. Then we have the VA, which normally handles specific tasks as assigned by the clients. So these are normally, like I said, reoccurring tasks that happen the same every week and make it super simple for them to have. What we're going to talk about now is the level of autonomy, right? The level of the amount of support that they're going to need in order to do their role, or if they're kind of like, here's my things, and then they go and do the things, right? And so an OBM is going to have a high level of autonomy, often making decisions independently within their area of expertise. Okay, so a high level of autonomy. If you don't want to kind of be in making sure things are going well, you're probably going to want to hire an OBM because they have a higher level of autonomy. All right. An EA is going to operate on the direction of the executive, right? That CEO that they support, which has like a moderate level of autonomy, right? Because they're working so closely with that high level executive that they're going to, the things change each time. So they're going to have like a moderate level. And then a VA typically has a very high degree of autonomy within the scope of their assigned tasks. So, right, you give them to them, they do the same things each week, and that's that, right? And so it depends on the level of autonomy, how much time you want to spend with them, and that would depend on which position role you would want to hire for. All right, but we're going to keep going. We're going to actually talk about the reporting structure and then the skill sets next. So as an OBM, when we're talking about the reporting structure, they typically report directly to either the CEO or the COO. The COO is the Chief Operating Officer. Okay. or chief operations officer, right? An EA is going to report directly to the executive that they support, and a VA is going to report directly to their client or a designated project manager. Okay, so as you can see, very different reporting structures potentially. All right, and then the next one here is going to be the skill set. So we've got the skill sets for an OBM. This one's actually probably really, really important, because ultimately when we're thinking about who we're hiring next, we're looking at what skills do I need? And so that's going to determine what person I'm going to be looking for. And so an OBM is going to have some very strong project management skills. They're going to have process improvement and system implementation skills. Okay, so they're, like I said, they're the very organizational strategic partner that you have in your business. Then you have your executive assistant, right? Your EA, which has excellent organizational communication and time management skills that are going to be your right-hand person. And then we have that VA, which varies based on the specific tasks that are assigned, but often includes administrative, technical, or creative skills, right? So these are very wide range. Some of these are very easy to distinguish, though, between what you're going to want. And I hope some of these examples that I give here a little bit later are going to be able to help you actually see this in real life. And so by understanding these key differences, you're actually able to actually determine which role is best suited for your business needs. And I'm actually going to walk you through now exactly how you can choose the right role for your business. And there's 3 things that we're going to go over, and that's assessing your business needs, considering your budget and the resources you have available. And the third one here is going to be evaluating your leadership style. And so first, we're going to start with assessing your needs. And that's actually identifying your pain points, that's evaluating your workload, and that's considering your long-term goals, right? And when we're talking about identifying your pain points, we're talking about where do you need the most support. I want you to sit down and I want you to think about it. You can open up a Word doc, you can grab a piece of paper. I want you to actually do this with me. Pause the podcast if you're not driving and actually do this with me. If not, bookmark this podcast. I don't know if you can do that, but come back to it when you have the moments to figure out what role is the next best role, right? And so determine where you need the most support. Write it all down. Where are things falling through the cracks? Where do you find yourself not wanting to do? So many different things like that. What are your pain points? And then I want you to evaluate the actual workload. So assess the volume, right? The amount and the complexity of your tasks. And that's going to help you determine, do you need an OBM, an EA, a VA, or something maybe completely different. But assessing that complexity of the task will help you to identify what type of level of OBM, EA, or VA that you're looking for. Okay. And then you want to also consider your long-term goals, which is determining how the role will contribute to your business's growth. Where do you want this role to go, right? Do you see this being long-term? Do you see this being a project? Like, what do you see this role turning into? And this person that you are looking to hire, where do you see them as a long-term goal? I love it when I'm looking to hire more team members and they're like, hey, where do you see this role in the next 3 to 6 months or the next year, whatever. And if they don't ask, I normally tell them, because as a CEO myself, I want my team to know that they are on for the long game, or if they're just a short-term project person, because that helps them make good decisions on their end. Okay, so next here, we're going to consider the budget and resources. And so budget and resources are, you're going to evaluate the financial situation, right? You're going to determine your budget and that you have allocated for a support team, right? What are you willing to exchange of money, right? What are you willing to go, okay, if I can get X, Y, Z done in exchange for X amount of money, I am golden. How does that feel, right? That's what you want to determine. And that might change as you talk to different people, but you want to have a baseline, something to start with. And so really evaluating that, like I said, again, write these things down, really flush it out, brainstorm it with a business partner or partner of any sort, right? Someone that has your best interest at heart in your business or other, okay? Consider your availability. So that's actually assessing the availability of these qualified team members in your area. Or if you're working remotely, then of course, much more vast. And just really think about, when do you need them to be available? Do you need them to be available really early in the morning? Do you need them to be available in the evening? Like, do you need them to be in your same time zone? Things like that. And just remember though, if they are contractors, they can be available whenever they desire. It's normally in their contract, and they do work as they see fit, according to your deadlines, of course, but they could work at 2 a.m. like I do sometimes. Just keep that in mind. And then you also have to weigh the cost and the benefits, okay? So we're going to compare the cost and the benefits of actually hiring an OBM, an EA, or a VA, right? And kind of already did that when you're talking about like your budget. Like, what are you cool with, like exchanging money for the service, that time saved, that maybe that skill set that you don't have, so many different things. Okay, just think about it. I want you to write all of these down, kind of brainstorm it out. And then I want you to actually evaluate your leadership style, because this is actually super important, because I definitely didn't do this when I first started hiring team. And I have learned since that we definitely need to do things a little differently. And so when you're talking about your management style, right, we're talking there's leadership style, there's management style. They're very similar, but they are different. So what is your management style? Reflect on these preferences for when you're talking about delegation and collaboration. Like, how do you like to do it? Do you like to be on Zoom calls? Or do you like to meet in person? Do you like to just have like Loom videos back and forth or voice messages back and forth? Like, or do you need to constantly have updates? Like, I want you to start thinking about what do you prefer to have and writing those things down, because some of these people, some of these roles, team members, they're going to have different styles that they prefer. And we want the ones that align together, correct? Yes. All right, perfect. And then we want to align with the role requirements. So choose a role that aligns with your leadership style and your team's needs. Okay. So there's a lot to this when we're trying to find that perfect person to join your team, or at least close to perfect, right? That next team member. And so actually by considering these factors, you can actually make a pretty informed decision about which role is best suited for your business. Okay. And because in Karalee fashion as well, I love to give you examples. So we're talking like case studies, real life examples of what we can do here. So this first one here, I actually named a solopreneur success story. Okay. We've all been a solopreneur at one point in our life, more than likely, and we know the struggle. A solopreneur is struggling to manage their growing business. They hired a VA, right? A virtual assistant to handle administrative tasks like email management, scheduling, and social media. And this allowed the solopreneur to focus on their core business activities and grow their client base. Okay. So that's a huge goal for a solopreneur, to bring on their first virtual assistant, to start offloading some of those things that you're like, hey, I don't have to do this. I want to be, filming the podcast, and I want to be doing, whatever their high level tasks are, depending on what type of business owner you are, right? I want to be focused on those things so we can have someone else come in and take some of these tasks off our plate, right? And so the second one I named the scaling startup. All right. So this one is a rapidly growing startup hired an OBM, which is an online business manager, to streamline their operations and implement new systems. And the OBM helped the company scale efficiently and improve their bottom line, right? Because when we actually streamline operations and implement systems, right, that allows other things to actually flow a lot easier and saves lots of time, which means the company is able to actually do things more efficiently, which improves their bottom line, right? So that's awesome. A scaling startup. Perfect. All right. So the third example here that I gave is the busy executive, right? That busy CEO. And so a busy CEO hired an executive assistant, right? That EA, to manage their schedule, handle travel arrangements, and provide general administrative support. And so this actually freed up the CEO's time to focus on strategic initiatives and build relationships. Okay. And that is huge as the busy CEO, to have that right-hand person as their EA, to be able to really offload some of these things, to be able to have them focus on building those relationships and those higher level strategic tasks, right? To have that CEO stay there. All right. And so these case studies actually demonstrate the value of each of these roles individually, right? And they bring the businesses, these can be helpful to businesses of all sizes, right? Every business that is scaling has room for every single one of these in different capacities. And so by carefully considering your business needs, right, going through that assessment I just told you to go through and selecting the appropriate role, you can feel really, really, really good about your hire and the actual future of your business. And we all want to feel really, really good about the future of our business. And so by understanding these unique roles and responsibilities of all three of these roles, right, an OBM, an EA, and a VA, you can make a really, really informed decision, all right, about the support that your business really, really needs. And each role offers very distinct benefits and can contribute to your success in very different ways. Even if they overlap a little bit, maybe even find someone that has some of these that can do multiple things here, which is awesome. I'm one of those people that does multiple roles in here, but this is then broken down individually. So here are your 3 action steps if you haven't done it already. And I broke these down a little bit earlier here in the podcast. And so your 3 action steps are assessing your business needs, which is identifying the specific areas where you require support. The second thing is going to be considering your budget and the resources, which is evaluating the cost and availability of these different roles, right? And the third action step is going to be evaluating your leadership style so you can choose a role that aligns with your management style. Okay. And so by making an informed decision, scaling your business becomes that much simpler. Adding to your team becomes that much simpler. And if you know me at all, I love simple. I love to make it super simple. I love to make it super streamlined. And I love to have you have your time back. And so if you're looking for support and you're like, I'm not really sure what I need here, I want you to fill out the work with me form below. It's located in the show notes, right? And we can connect and we can see what the next best step is for you. All right. If you have any questions, you can always reach out on your favorite platform, send me an email, whatever you choose, and we will have a conversation. But until next week, bye for now.